Shalom, call hello Allah Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah, which means all praises to Yahweh, which is the true name of the Heavenly Father, who you people in the world can call God by Hashem, and the name of Yahweh Shah, which is the name of the only begotten Son, who you people in the world can call JC. Once again, the true names of the Heavenly Father's only begotten Son is Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. Shalom also to you, Akim. You brothers that's pushing and spreading this word throughout the four corners of the earth, who's also uplifting the names Yahweh by Shema Shah. Shalom to you, Akim, once again. Shalom also to the Israelite foreigners, the speckled bird, man, woman, and child, whose bloodline traces back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all forefathers, though you may look like the heathen nations. You're scattered amongst which the heathen nations, as you see on this chart, the nations starting from 2 on down, those are the heathen nations. Also, if your bloodline, your lineage goes back to these people, as you see on this chart through the man. And if your spirit bear witness with this word, the truth, you can receive it to the speckled bird, man, woman, and child. This does apply to you. You are Israelites, though you do look like the heathen. You're scattered amongst due to the scattering these people in this chart. So you will have Israelites come looking like the other nations, but then the Israelites, because they're under the curses of Deuteronomy 28, the 15th verse, all the way to the 68th verse, their spirit bear witness with this word that they're the sons and daughters of Yahweh by Shem Shah. And most importantly, their line, their lineage goes back to these people through the man, no matter what they come looking like. If their father's an Israelite, that makes them an Israelite as well. Also to the few Aqua, few like sisters that do listen, learn, believe, and have respect towards your husband, Shalom. To the elect of Israel, Shalom. To so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, once again, you combine, consist, and make up the 12 tribes of Israel. You are the Hebrew Israelites, the chosen people of the Most High Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls JC, Yahweh Shah. Um, I just wanted to do a real quick one on this article right here on RT, but it says plastics, other chemical pollutants are shrinking penis sizes and reducing fertility and imperiling human race. So, and we all know why. All right, this is just another plot. All right, mainly to destroy. All right, you Israelites, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native American. We're gonna get into it. But it says exposure to plastics and other chemical hazards of modern life is reducing penis sizes and sperm counts. You hear that? Sperm counts. Eroding fertility to the next extent that the future of the human race is imperiled. A top epidemiologist claims in her new book. And let's get that word for imperiled. All right. So, imperiled, right? It says put at risk of being harmed, injured, or destroyed. All right. So let's keep going. Simply put, we're living in an age of reproductive reckoning that is having reverberating effects across the planet. Dr. Shauna Swan wrote in her book Countdown, she added, Swan is leading environmental and reproductive epidemiologist who has studied declining sperm counts and the impact of environmental chemicals and pharmaceuticals for more than 20 years. All right, which that's pharmaceuticals, these drugs, all right? It's witchcraft, man. Okay? Her books, which was released in late February, is a top seller in several scientific categories. Swan alleges that phthalates, which are used in plastic manufacturing and other chemicals, have led to such harming effects as an increasing number of babies being born with small penises, sharply lower testosterone levels in men, which you see that, sperm counts in Western countries plunging 59% from 73 to 2011, and a fertility decline of more than 50% over the past half century. Female reproductive development and estrogen levels also have been altered. In some parts of the world, the average 20-something today is less fertile than her grandmother was at 35, Swan said, which is crazy. You see? Reproductive havoc is affecting animals too, the scientist said, pointing to such findings as unusually small penises in alligators, panthers, and mink, as well as more fish, frogs, birds, and snapping turtles have ambiguous genitalia. Unless we take steps to reverse these harmful influences, the plant species are in grave danger, Swan said. She wrote that humans meet 3 of the 5 criteria that define whether a species is endangered Only one of the five has to be met for a species to be in danger, man. And this what proves the earth has been given into the hand. Job 9:24. The earth has been given to the hand of the wicked, man. He covered the face of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he, man? We know who it is, man. Who facing the world? All right. For the reserve note, man, is Esau Edom, man. Malachi 1:4. Esau Edom, man. All right. He's bringing the world to his damn knees, man. All right. And he's doing it, okay, just to get basically at you tribes, man. Okay, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, especially, all right, the Israelite man. All right, the Israelite man to these devils is the biggest threat on the planet Earth. And we not saying that out of exaggeration. That's just the truth. The Israelite man is the worst threat to the Edomite male on the planet Earth, man. All right? And let's start off with this, man. And it's not just people, it's damn animals that's on the brink of so-called extinction. How is everything going extinct under your rulership? Okay? The earth has been given to the hand of the wicked. This Ecclesiasticus 10:1. It says a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so his officers, and what man of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So that's the thing. What do you see in this society with these police officers? They're corrupt. All right? They're corrupt. They're set up basically as taskmasters, which we're going to get that, to afflict Jake. All right? To oppress Jake, to keep Jake on the bottom. All right? They sell drugs. They throw drugs and guns in your hoods. All right? Why is that? Because the man, the ruler of the city, really the ruler of the planet Earth right now, is corrupt himself. He's vile and wicked himself. All right? But it says, an unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the sea shall be inhabited. And he's an unwise king. And he's destroying not just people, he's destroying the trees, he's destroying animals, he's destroying everything. Anything that has life to it, he's destroying it. That's his key goal, man. What does it say in Isaiah the 10th chapter? It is in his heart to cut nations a few, to cut everything a few, man. All right? So, this is what it is, man. But he's really, all right, he's aiming at the tribes, man. You tribes, man. You Jakes. All right? Like I said, you're the Israelite man is the biggest threat, okay? When it comes to Esau, even on the planet Earth, man. And he would do anything, all right, to kill Jake, even if that means he has to kill some of his own people. All right? We're going to get into it. Okay? Because let's actually get this right. Because your water, man. All right? Your plastics and what you drink your water out of. Most of the time it's plastic bottles or just anything. All right? So water's not even supposed to be in plastic. That's another thing. Because of what? Chemicals that could get into your water, man. Or even your food, man. All right? Let's get this real quick. This is Sirach 39. And I've been bringing this out lately. Okay? Sirach 39, Ecclesiasticus 39:26. It says, the principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour, wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing. And Esau has taken all these things and plus more. All right, he's what? He's tampered with it. All right, he's put abominations. He's dealing with your food, man. You could be eating something thinking it's it's a clean food according to the dietary laws, but it's really pork in it. All right. Your water, fluoride, all right, all types of chemicals in your metals, unnecessary metals are in your water, man. Shit, not even shit. Not to be, nasty, but it's the truth. All right, it's all types of things in your food, man. Just like what was it called? The Jiffy, that cornbread. All right, it's pork in that. Gummy bears, the Hasbro's, which I used to love eating those things. It's pork in that, or the things that's in pork is in that. All right, he's taking all these things that's of a man's life and he's tampered with it. All right, he's tampered with it and he's defiled it. All right, What does it say in Ezekiel 4:19? And the children of Israel shall eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles. And this is what you see playing out. All these things are for good to the godly, so to the sinners they are turned into evil, man. He's turned all these things, all right, into evil. He's using them as a weapon really against Jake, man. And dealing with this whole plastic, destroying the sperm count. All right. Let's go on all right. So Salakia. Let's get Exodus, all right? Because this is spiritual Egypt all over again. This is Egypt all over again, man. All right. See, Esau, he's afraid of Jake, man. Especially the Israelite man. I keep saying it, but this is Exodus 1:1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. All right? So these are all the tribes. And Joseph died and all his brethren in all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly rich, and waxed exceedingly mighty, Salakia, and the land was filled with them. All right? Because Lord, let me see if I can find that. If not, we're going to continue on. All right. All right, because we oh, we just gonna go back. I don't want to waste time looking for it, but yeah, man. That's the what the Lord gave us, man. The ability, we're a fruitful people. All right. Jake has a lot of kids, man. Okay. Jake is known for that, man. Especially the Israelite woman, and even women of other nations, Jake is real big in that. And real quick, if you go to Genesis 49, because it's so big that every tribe, all right, every tribe of the 12 tribes of Israel is a nation within itself. Every tribe is like its own nation. That's how big Jake is. And hold on. Okay, let me get this real quick. Now this is going Genesis 49 goes into all the tribes, right? So I'm gonna start at 8, right? Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion, as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? And we're being roused up now through the word, really. All right? The scepter shall not depart from Judah. Judah is the head tribe, the so-called blacks or Negroes or African Americans, whatever you want to call them. Nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh, which is going to be Yahushua, until onto him shall be the gathering of the people be. Because it's going to start with the tribe of Judah waking up. When the tribe of Judah wakes up, all the tribes wake up. And that's why the so-called black man, he's when it comes to the tribes within itself, he's the main threat. Because when the tribe of Judah wakes up, the rest of them follow, man. And that's what's happening. But it says, binding his foal onto the vine, his ass coat onto the choice vine, he washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Zebulun, another tribe, shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for a haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Issachar, the so-called Mexican, is a strong ass couching down between two burdens, And he saw that the rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path that biteth the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward. I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord Yahweh by Shem Shah. It says Gad, which is so-called Native Americans. A native troop shall overcome them. When Esau overcame Gad. Gad was really one of the top and first tribes Esau took down. All right, because it started with the northern kingdom. It says, but he shall overcome at the last. Out of Asher, his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a hind let loose. He giveth goodly words. Joseph is a fruitful vine, which is the tribe of Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Ricans. All right, which the Ephraimites, the so-called Puerto Ricans, you're the head of the northern kingdom. So when you really hear about Ephraim, it's talking about really the whole house of Ephraim. All right, the northern kingdom. Says is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well whose branches run over the wall. Meaning what? They have a lot of kids, man. All right, if you seen do the right thing, when you had that Edomite cop, he was he said, you know, he was talking about the Ephraim in that scene. He said 30 in the house, you know, 30 in the car. I forgot he said it, but the reason why it is because the Lord, that's the blessing that the Lord gave our people, man. It's gonna say it, but it says the archers have surely grieved him and shied him and hated him. But his bow, a bow and the strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty Yahweh of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, even by the God of thy father who shall help thee, and by the Almighty Yahweh who blessed thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb. All right, of the womb, man. No more to say, man. All right, that's the one of the traits, one of the top things the Lord gave us, man. That fruit, being fruitful and multiplying, man. All right, you could put Jake, just like you see in the society, you could put Jake in the worst living conditions, and Jake still multiply, man. All right, we'll multiply and get strong and strong. We're gonna go back to what it was saying in Exodus, man. All right, but it says, going back, this is Exodus 1:7 says, and the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, meaning we grew in numbers and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, because we're stronger than these other nations. It tells you that in Genesis 25th chapter. And the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. And Esau, the elites of Edom, and these heathens, they're in that same mindset. All right, these people, you know, it's a lot of them, and not only is it a lot of them, but they're more powerful than us. They're stronger than us. You see, the only reason why they got the upper hand is because the Lord put us in this condition. All right, come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses. Just like now, who are your modern day taskmasters? All right, is your president, so-called president, Joe Biden, who's now so-called president. All right, your teachers, the police officers, okay? Shit, our women, all right? Now on this side, they're enemies, so not even them. All right, these are all taskmasters. You see, and it says they built treasure cities, just like how was America built? It was built by Jake. All right, what did the scripture say? There's no this is Jeremiah 51. You know, right? Jeremiah 51:19 says the portion of Jacob is not like them. Like who? The other nations. Well, this right here is really the elect, because you got within the house of Israel, you got the elect. That's only the ones the Lord's dealing with, the 1/3. The Lord's not dealing with all Israel on this side. But even when it comes to the nations, all right, we are better than them, man. We're not like these nations, and they know that. They know we're mightier than them. Look at how we dominate the sports. Look at how we dominate basically everything we get into. We dominate. That's why they gotta set up all these laws and, have all these little loopholes, to have Jake stumble, and they basically 5 steps ahead of you, man. All right. It says, for he is the form of all things, and Israel's derived his inheritance. The Lord Yahweh Shema Shah of hosts is his name, because we the Lord's people, man. All right. The Lord blessed us, man. Yeah, he put us in captivity, but we still blessed people, man, even in this lower state. But going back, Exodus 1 and 12, it says, but the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel, man. All right? So it's like Pharaoh was doing all these things to oppress our people, just like now. All right, the modern Pharaoh, Esau, Edom. All right? We keep growing. All right? Look what's going on down at the border with the Latin tribes, man. All right? It's like Esau is doing all these things, separating their kids, just doing all these things. All right? And it's like more and more keep coming, even though they bring their children to the murderer. You see? But it says, and the Egyptians made their children of Israel to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and mortar and brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service when they made them to serve with rigor. It says, and the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. Right? So our woman, right? And it says, and he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them upon the stools, basically when they were giving birth, all right, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live, because this Pharaoh, all right, they knew the Numbers 1 and 8, that the person was, numbered by the pedigrees of the house of their fathers, man. You are what your father is, man, no matter what you look like. I always open up with that, all right? You are what your father is, all right? Like I always say, the wheat and the tares. You could have an Edomite father, so-called white father, and a black mother, so-called black mother, and you could come out looking like your mother completely. You wouldn't even know you had a white father, but you are still an Edomite. Now, the other way around, if it's an Edomite woman and a Jake, and they come out looking like an Edomite, all right, and his father's a Jake, though, he's still a Jake, all right? Pharaoh knew that. See, kings in the ancient world knew that. That's why they will always try to get rid of the man, because you get rid of the man, all right, you basically commit genocide against that nation, okay? You don't really need, all right, let's say you was to cut out the woman of a nation, all right? That wouldn't really make a difference, because all that man has to do is he has to get a woman from another nation and pop that woman, and he could reform that. You see? So it says, but the midwives feared Yahweh and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. All right? Because they knew what Pharaoh was up to. They knew he was trying to basically kill off our nation, man. All right? And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto him, why have ye done this thing and have saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, showing you we're not those Africans, man. All right? You have Israelites in Africa, but we aren't Africans. All right? We were dwelling amongst them Hamites. We're not the same people. All right? Two races, just dark races, but two different nations, man. All right? For they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come in onto them, man. Our women are lively, man. All right? It says, therefore Yahweh dwelt with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mightily, man. Well, let's get the definition real quick of lively. All right? The word lively. Definition. Full of life and energy, active and outgoing. That's our people, man. Jake loved to travel. Okay? Jake liked to do a lot of things, man. All right? And if Jake had the money, all right, they would do a whole lot of things, man. You see? But the whole point of that was he was trying to exterminate the nation of Israel. All right? And today they do that again with what? Abortion clinics. All right? This feminism. Because if you were a woman and she has this feminist mindset, you're not going to want to deal with her. And what do you have due to feminism? All right? You have a bunch of single women. Men don't want to deal with them. You have MGTOW. Men go their own way. So what does that mean? If the men don't want to deal with the woman, and the woman, they want a particular man, but they don't get that particular man because they got a certain mindset, all right? Nobody's getting together, so nobody's making babies. You see? And now, you come to find out the plastic that you drink from your water bottles and whatever you use plastic for, if it's going inside your body, you have to use plastic, all right, for a particular liquid, or even a lot of this food is plastic. Rice is plastic. The macaroni cheese shells, those are plastic. There's a lot of things that's plastic. Your cereal, all right, it's all fake. It's all GMO. So now you have this, man. So he's going overboard, and it's to the point where Esau, him being the new Pharaoh, he doesn't just want to cut the man off, the Israelite man. He just want to cut all Israel off. Period. All right. Cause real quick, let's go Proverbs 17. Okay. This is Proverbs 17 and 16. All right. So we gonna go full circle on this, man. Let's actually get going to KJV. All right. Salaki. Actually, you know what? Let's get Proverbs, I think it's the 8th chapter. How it says, "O ye sons of men." All right. Yep. This is Proverbs 8 and 1, right? It says, "Does not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? She standeth in the top of high places, by the way in the places of the paths. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the sea, at the coming in and the doors. Unto you, O men." And the O men of what? The men of the nation of Israel. All right. "I call, and my voice is to the sons of man." Okay. So that's the thing. Sons, your voice is to the Heavenly Father. You have a voice is what? To the sons of men. Okay. And we're going to get that lead to the next scripture. All right. Let's see. Yep. This is Sirach 30. Okay. And 1 says that he that loveth his son causes him off to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end. He that chasteneth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. He that teacheth his son, right, grieveth the enemy. Teacheth him what? What was given to the nation of Israel? The law, statutes, and commandments. All right? And what? It's not just, it's beyond the law, statutes, and commandments. What also would you teach your offspring? All right, who the enemy is, how the enemy maneuvers, how to livestock, cattle, how to do that. These are the different things of our nation, our heritage. All right, the daughters of our nation. All right, the father. All right, what does the scripture say? The father will keep her in closely. The father will arrange the marriages. The father will basically, in order for a man, if he saw a damsel, if he saw a woman, all right, that was never lied with back in the ancient world, all right, and he wanted that woman, he had to go to the father. He had to pay the father a dowry, all right, in order to get his daughter. So he had to go to the father for approval of his daughter, because the father will watch over his daughter, man. All right, but the point is, it says he that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, man. And see, that's what Esau don't want, because at the end of the day, all right, the war, like I keep saying, is on the Israelite man. All right, not just the Israelite man, the elect, okay, because the elect is going to be joint heirs with Yahushua, especially when Yahushua comes back. What's Yahushua coming back to do? He's coming back, all right, to conquer and to put down the enemies of Yasharallah, man. And the elect going to be joint heirs, and that's what they don't want to deal with. They don't want to deal with the elect, all right. Though his father died, yet he is as though he were not dead. So your father died, but what does that mean? Is he really dead? No, because for he have left one behind him that is like himself, man. All right. So that's the thing. All right. A prime example of that Let me get Proverbs 16 first. All right. And then we're going to get that example dealing with King David and plenty other forefathers in the scriptures, man. All right. See, they don't want to deal with that. See, because all the shit they did to our forefathers, well, we still here. All right. Through that seed, man. All right. And not only we here now, but now we got Yahweh Bashim Shah back. We got this wisdom back. And wisdom, all right, just like the time of Solomon. Him praying for wisdom led to what? Power, man. Led to him being the greatest king at that time, man. Proverbs 17. Salakia. All right, this is Proverbs 17 and 6. It says, children's children are the crown of old men, and the glory of children are their fathers, man. And go back to the time of King David, right? What did King David do? He was going, let's just get it. All right, an example. All right, Salakia. Okay, so this was the house of David. All right, David, the house of David, what they were going through, man. All right. All right, so we're going to get, this is First Chronicles 18, 17 actually. We're going to get here and we're going to jump. All right. I start at 10. So it says, and since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, moreover, I will subdue all thy enemies. Furthermore, I tell thee that the Lord Yahweh Shah will build thee an house. And it shall come to pass when thy days be expired, that thou must go to be with thy fathers, that I will raise up thy seed after thee, which shall be of thy sons, and I will establish his kingdom. All right. Who was he talking? He was talking to David, man. All right. So continue on. It says, he shall build me an house, and I will establish his throne forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son, and I will not take my mercy away from him, as I took it from him that was before thee. But I will settle him in my house and in my kingdom forever, and his throne shall be established forevermore. According to all these words and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David. Right? And David the king came and sat before the Lord Yahweh Shema and said, who am I, O Lord Yahweh, and what is my house that thou hast brought me hitherto? And yet this was this was a small thing in thine eyes, O Yahweh. For thou hast also spoken to thy servant's house for a great while to come, and hast regarded me according to the state of man of high degree, O Lord Yahweh. What can David speak more to thee for thy honor of thy servant? For thou knowest thy servant. O Lord Yahweh Shema Shah, for thy servant's sake, and according to thy own heart, hast thou done all this greatness, and making known all these great things. It says, O Lord Yahweh, there is none like thee, neither is there any God beside thee, according to all that we have heard with our ears. And what nation in the earth is like thy people Israel, whom Yahweh went to redeem to be his own people, to make thee a name of greatness and terribleness, by driving out nations from before thy people, whom thou hast redeemed out of Egypt. For thy people Israel didst make thy own people. Didst thou make thy own people forever, and thou, Lord, becamest their God. All right. Therefore, now, Lord, let the thing that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant, concerning his house, be established forever, and do as thou hast said. Let it even be established that thy name may be magnified forever, saying, the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah of hosts is the God of Israel, even the God unto Israel. And let the house of David, thy servant, be established before thee. For thou, my power, hast told thy servant that thou wilt build him an house. Therefore thy servant hath found in his heart to pray before thee. And now, Lord Yahweh Shema Shah, thou art Yahweh, and hast promised this goodness unto thy servant. Now therefore let it please thee to bless the house of thy servant, that it may be blessed it may be before thee forever, Salakia, for thou blessest, O Lord, and it shall be blessed forever. So this was an establishment of the house of David, man. So check this out. Right when it was established, this is what they went and did. David and his men, which are back today. All right, which these are the men that the elites are they fear. First Chronicles 8, chapter 18:1. It says, now after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them and took Gath and her towns out of the hand of the Philistines. And he smote Moab, so-called Chinese, and the Moabites became David's servants and brought gifts. And David smote Hadarezer, king of Zobah, onto Hamath as he went to establish his dominion by the river Euphrates. And David took from him 1,000 chariots and 7,000 horsemen and 20,000 footmen. David also hold all the chariot horses, but reserved of them 100 chariots. And when the Syrians of Damascus came to help Hadarezer, king of Zobah, David slew of the Syrians 22,000 men. All right. Then put garrisons in Syria, Damascus, and the Syrians became David's servants and brought gifts. Thus the Lord Yahweh preserved David whithersoever he went. And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadarezer and brought them to Jerusalem. Likewise from Tibhath and from Chun and cities of Hadarezer brought David very much brass wherewith Solomon made the brazen sea and the pillars and the vessels of brass. Now when Tou, king of Hamath, heard how David had smitten all the hosts of Hadarezer, king of Zobah, he sent Hadoram, his son, to King David to inquire of his welfare. So he heard of how David was just running through these other heathen nations, man. And he ain't won none. So he went and sent his son to inquire of his welfare, man. All right? And to congratulate him because he had fought against Hadarezer and smitten him. For Hadarezer had war with Tou, and with him all manner of vessels of gold and silver and brass. Them also King David dedicated unto the Lord with the silver and the gold that he brought from all these nations. From Edom, the people you see in power now, all right? And from Moab, and from the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines, and from Amalek. Moreover, Abishai, the son of Zuriah, slew of the Edomites in the valley of Salt 18,000. And he put garrisons in Edom, and all the Edomites became David's servants. So you were slaves at one time. Thus the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. So David reigned over all Israel, and executed judgment and justice among all his people. And Joab the son of Zuriah was over the host, and Jehoshaphat the son of Ahilud, recorder, as Zadok the son of Ahitub, and Abimelech the son of Abiathar were the priests, and Shavsha was scribe. And Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over the Sherethites and the Pelethites, and the sons of David were chief about the king, man. So when the house of David was established, what did they do? They went and conquered, man. David went and conquered and subdued our enemies, the enemies of our nation. All right. So let me see if I could get that account where David, he was basically he was basically old. Salakia. Let me see. Salakia, bear with me, alright? But you get what I'm getting at, alright? So David, he was putting in work, man, on conquering our enemies and what? Getting more spoils of war and more land. Okay? Let me see. So we're going to see if it's First Kings. Okay? I was just giving you a glimpse of what King David was doing in his prime. Alright? So, I got this the other day. Let me see. Alright? This is 1 Kings 1:1. It says, now King David was old, alright, and stricken in years, and they covered him with clothes, but he got no heat. Wherefore his servant said unto him, let there be sought for my lord the king a young virgin, and let her stand before the king, and let her cherish him, and let her lie in thy bosom, that my lord the king may get heat. So they sought for a fair damsel throughout all the coast of Israel, and found Abishag, a Shunammite, and brought her to the king. And the damsel was very fair, and cherished the king, and ministered to him but the king knew her not. Then Adonijah, the son of Haggith, exalted himself, saying, I will be king. And he prepared him chariots and horsemen and 50 men to run before him. And his father had not displeased him at any time, and saying, Why hast thou done so? He also was a very goodly man. His mother bare him after Absalom. And he conferred with Joab the son of Zuriah and with Abiathar the priest, and they following Adonijah helped him. But Zadok the priest and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada and Nathan the prophet and Shimei and Re and the mighty men which belonged to David were not with Adonijah. And Adonijah slew sheep and oxen and fat cow by the stone of Zoheleth, which is by Aragel, and called all his brothers and the king's sons and all the men of Judah the king's servants. But Nathan the prophet and Benaiah and the mighty men and Solomon his brother he called not. Wherefore Nathan spake unto Bathsheba the mother of Solomon, saying, Hast thou not heard that Adonijah the son of Haggith doth reign, and David our Lord knoweth it not? Now therefore come, let me, I pray thee, give thee counsel that thou mayest save thy own life and the life of thy son Solomon. Alright? Let me see. Alright, it says, Go and get thee in unto King David, and say unto him, This is not thou, my lord, O king, swear unto thy handmaid, saying, Surely Solomon thy son shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne. Why then did Adonijah reign? Alright, so you had this whole debate, but the whole point was King David. He was in his he was in his that time, man. It was that time basically. I just put it that way. He was old, man. Alright? So what was he gonna do? All that work he put in by conquering our enemies, putting them in subjection, conquering different lands. Alright? What was he gonna do? Once he went, if you get what I'm saying, he was gonna pass it to one of his sons. And eventually it was passed to who? King Solomon. Alright? So going back what it said in Proverbs, alright, the 17th chapter, that's why, having kids is important. Because if a lot of them, not just having kids, but having a lot of kids, alright, that's why it's important. That was the whole point of sex. See, pleasure, like I said, pleasure, alright, is one part of sex, but the whole point of it is nation building. Alright, it's legacy. Passing the legacy down from one to another, man. Alright? That's what it's all about. And that's how it was in the ancient world. King David did all he did, and it was passed down to Solomon. Solomon, what? Continued with his father, because really, I read it in Sirach the 30th chapter, it's just almost as his father never left, continued what his father did and grew it. Basically an enterprise. You see? What was it? Proverbs 17 and hold on, I think I passed it. Yep, I'm gonna read it again. Children are the crown of old men, and the glory of their children are their fathers, man. So that glory is passed down to him, man. Alright? And see, this is why they wanna cut off that line, man. This is why that was the whole purpose of feminism, the whole purpose of the LGB. I'm not gonna say the rest, but you know what I'm talking about. The alphabet community. Alright? And now the sperm count. Trying to make it harder, alright, for reproduction, man. Okay? This is what Esau doesn't want. He doesn't want, alright, that the time, King, like the times of King David, King Solomon, Joshua. He does not want an Israelite man like that. And actually, alright. Salakia. Alright. So let me see. He don't want that, cause real quick, let's get Salakia. I get this, alright? This is Psalms 127. And 1, it says, a song of degrees for Solomon. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord Yahweh Shemashah keep the city, the watchman walketh but in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he giveth his beloved sheep sleep. Slakia. Lo, children are a heritage of the Lord Yahweh Shemashah, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. Alright? As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are the children of the youth. Alright? It says, happy is the man that hath his quiver. What do you think it's talking about? Full of them. It's talking about his rod, man. Because somebody will look at that and say, it's not talking about his rod. It's talking about, an actual arrow. Well, the scriptures, let's get that real quick. Let's get Matthew 13 and 10 real quick. And we're going to get into that. Matthew 13, I'll read the whole parable. The same day went Yahweh out of the house and sat by the seaside, and great multitudes were gathered together unto him. So that he went into the ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spake many things unto them in parables. All right, let's get the word parable real quick. All right, not to get off topic, but the word parable is parabola, a placing of one thing by the side of another. A juxtaposition of a ship in battle. It says a comparison of one thing with another, likeness and similitude. So that's the thing. All right. An example by which a doctrine or precept is illustrated. And that's how this whole book is parabolic. All right. It's like a hidden code. All right. But anyway, and he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell up upon stony places where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. And when the sun was up, they scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among the thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. But others fell into good ground and brought forth fruit, some in 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Who have ears to hear, let them hear. And the disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables? Right? Why are you speaking? Why are you basically translating it that way? Why can't you just come out, straightly with what you're saying? Basically was what they're saying. He answered and said unto him, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. Just like Revelations 11 and 8, the election have attained what they seeking for, but the rest were blinded. The rest of who? Our people. These other nations, they ain't got it either. All right? They can't understand this or put their finger on this, man. But just going back, I was making a point. But if you look up a quiver, right? Let's look up an arrow first, all right? Well, let's get that real quick. See what they're going to say. All right. Not Bible, I mean to hit that. So you see, it says, what is the spiritual meaning of arrows? It says an arrow can represent the hunt, the sun's ray, or the might of Yahweh. Apollo's arrow is said to symbolize supreme power, which that's that Greek stuff. But we're gonna go down. Psychologically, the arrow is seen as the male sex symbol, a piercing and penetrating phallic image. Alright? Well, let's look up an arrow, right? So you can see what I'm getting at. Diagram. An arrow diagram, right? It says an arrow diagram is defined as a process. No. I just want the picture. I don't need to read it. It's not popping up either. Let's just look up an arrow since it's not. All right. All right. So you see the arrow, right? So if you look at the arrow, all right. If you look at, well, let's get this one. If you look at the top, all right, you got that head of the arrowhead, and you got the long wood piece, and you got the back of it, right? So if you look at a sperm cell, okay, it really, if you look at it, it looks just like an arrow, all right? Because what does an arrow do? You shoot, all right, you have a bow, which a quiver is what you hold the arrows in, all right? So when you got the arrow, you take it out the quiver, you will load it to the bow, and you will shoot. And the whole point of the arrow is to what? It's to penetrate wherever you shot, all right, the arrow at. Whatever direction you shot the arrow is to penetrate what you wanted to hit, all right? And if you look at a sperm cell, all right, you got, like you see with the arrow, you got that long tail, that long area, all right? And then you got that head, and it's like a point, all right? And we're going to go back to the scriptures, Lord willing, you can see where I'm coming at. All right. I might have to cut this into 2 parts because it's going to be a little bit lengthy. So I'm going to read it again. Psalms 127 and 5. It says, happy is the man that have his quiver. All right. And what's the man's quiver? His, if you really look at it, all right, it will be his sack. All right. Full of them, not, trying to make this a sex ed class, but just, trying to break it down. Full of them, they shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. And another thing to show you, right? To show you, it's beyond, it's talking about an arrow, an actual bow and arrow is metaphorical or parable. If you go on Sirach 26 in the 12th verse, okay? Now this is speaking of the woman in the state of whoredom, right? We're gonna start at Sirach 26 and 10, so it will make sense. It says, the whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, which I was going into early, lest she shall abuse herself through overmuch liberty. Watch over and impugn the eye, and marvel not if she trespass against thee. All right, she will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler, which is another parable. You just gotta know what is going into. All right, that when he had found traveler, when he had found a fountain, and drank of every water near her, all right, by every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver, which her quiver will be what? Her box, her vagina, all right, against every arrow. So when a man and woman come together, which the process, he shoots his sperm, his arrows into that woman, all right, his seed into that woman, and she has what? She has the egg, all right? And when he shoots his sperm in that woman, all right, the sperm, it shoots and finds that egg and penetrates the egg, and what? You create, all right, life. That's how the Heavenly Father has it set up, through the process of what? Procreation, all right? So you know what it's going into, okay? So he's saying, happy is the man have, all right, his quiver full of them. You see? So it says children are a heritage of the Lord, man. And we're known for having children. The reason that's what? To pass on, not to just the pleasure of it, but to pass on and to build your nation. All right? To pass on the legacy, man. All right? Let me see something else. Okay? And Esau, he does not want that. He fears that. All right? He fears that. Because what does it say? Bind the strong man up, right? Let's go there real quick. This is Matthew 12. What did it say earlier? He that teacheth his son, all right, grieveth the enemy. You see? So this is Matthew 12 and 29 says, or else, how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, all right, except he first bind the strong man, and then will he spoil his house. So that's what Esau don't want. That's why he wants to cut off our nation, man. He wants to clip our nation, all right, especially the Israelite male, because see, the Israelite male, all right, especially the elect, once they get this knowledge, what do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna want to do what it says right here, spoil his house, man. Vengeance, man. The big payback. See, that's what they don't want. They don't want. Just like when Yahushua was born. All right, let's get that account with Herod. Because what was the whole purpose of Yahushua being born? All right. There's nothing new under the sun. Okay. So this is Matthew. Okay. This is Matthew 2. We'll start at verse 1, right? Because this was Yahushua. Same thing with Yahushua. All right. It says, now when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king. So this was, we was under these Edomites again. All right. Romans, the Roman Empire. All right. Behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born king of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him, because he knew Yahushua being born was what? It's going to be a threat to his power structure. All right? Because our people was just like we are now. We were in the lowest state then. And he knew that Yahushua was going to be the key. He's going to be the salvation, all right, to these Jews, right? And it's detrimental to his power structure. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, all Jerusalem with him, and we had gathered all the chief priests and the scribes of the people together. He demanded of them where Yahushua HaMashiach should be born. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it was written by the prophet, and thou Bethlehem, and the land of Judah, are not the least among the princes of Judah. For out of these shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. All right? And they didn't want that. Because that mean what? They were going down. If we go up, they go down. If they go up, we go down. Right now, we went down, they've gone up. But now, we on the come up. So what does that mean? They're going down. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child. And when ye have found him, bring me word again that I may come and worship him also. So he tried to play it off as if he wanted to come, all right, and see Yahushua to worship him, bow down to him. Which that was not his intent. All right. We're going to see it. It says, when they heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were coming to the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him, which he had a father was Joseph. All right. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned of Yahweh in the dream that they should not return to Herod, that they departed into their own country another way. So they got in the dream. It's going to say, it says, and when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in the dream, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother, because Joseph was his father, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. All right. So that was what he wanted to do. He wanted to destroy Yahushua. All right. Why Yahushua, was just born, man. Because he knew Yahushua was what? A threat. When Yahushua got old enough to know, what was and what was going on, especially with his nation. All right. It was game over, man. Just like us. You see? They had a ballpark with us when we didn't know who we were, but now we know who we are. Now it's a problem. We got to get rid of these people. All right? And when they departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in the dreams. Hold on. It says, when he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt. And there was until the death of Herod that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken to the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts thereof from 2 years old and under. So he was so pissed off that he didn't get his hands on them right then and there. He just put the decree out. Guess what? All right, just kill all the 2-year-olds and kill all the infants, even if they were just newborns. They just came out a day ago. Kill all of them. All right. He couldn't find a house shot, so he said, just kill all the infants. All right. So he was trying to cut off, all right, that line, man. All right. From 2 years old and under, and according to the time which he had diligently acquired the wise men. It's the same thing they're doing with this. It's the same thing. There's nothing new. Oh, they took it off. All right. It's the same thing. They're doing the same thing with these different experiments, man. They're trying to cut off. Let's get that. Psalms 83. Psalms 83:1 says, keep not thou silent, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembered. Just like Herod did, in plenty of times. Haman, all right, when he got some sort of power, he put the decree out to destroy the Jews of the land. They've always, every time they came back, all right, every time we dealt with these Edomites, they've always been about, all right, killing, all right, the nation of Israel. All right, get rid of them, exterminate them. That's what they've always been about. But they have consulted together with one consent. They're confederate against thee, meaning what? They made a treaty, all right, with each other to come against this nation. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs of Moab, the Chinese, the Hagarenes, which is Mo Ishmael, Jebel, Edom, Ammon, Japanese, Amalek, the so-called Jewish people, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, all right, them Hamites. Asher also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. And what did you notice? That King David, our forefather King David, he conquered these nations. So in order to prevent that from happening again, all right, they came together and what? Let's cut these people off, all right, from being, all right, from coming back into power, basically, man. All right. This time we lost our heritage, and they did everything in their power to stop that from stop this from happening. It didn't work. All right. Let's get Psalms, the 2nd chapter. Psalms 2:1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh Shemashah, and against his anointed, his elect, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us, man. And when you're born, right, when you come out your mother, what do you have attached to you? A umbilical cord. All right. They're trying to cut that spiritual umbilical cord from Yahweh Shemashah to us, man. All right. He that sitteth in the heaven shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his sword and his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure, man. All right. So them thinking that they're going to be successful at this, or something like what you saw in that article, and many other things, because that's just one of the many things that Esau is using to destroy us, man. All right. But the Lord's laughing at them because they're not going to be able to do it, man. All right. They're not going to do it. Let's get see, now with the time we coming in, Esau's only going to be able to get the 2/3. But even when he gets the 2/3, the 2/3 gonna come back. So it really is nothing, all right, this devil can do. This is Malachi 3:6 says, for I am the Lord Yahweh Shemashah, I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob, Israel, are not consumed. So no matter what this man comes with, no matter how poisonous or whatever he does to exterminate us, it's not gonna work. It's gonna be like it was in Egypt. Every time they afflicted us, we just grew and grew and grew. All right, and that's because it says it right here, Lamentations 3:22. It is of the Lord Yahweh Shemashai's mercy that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not, because we are what? His people. He made a covenant, all right, with Abraham. Then it was passed down to Isaac. Then it was passed down to Jacob. Us. All right? Yahweh was a man. He should not lie, man. You see? There's nothing you can do. Okay? Let's get another scripture. Like I said, I might have to cut this into 2 parts. All right? This is Sirach 37, okay? And 25. It says, the days of the life of man may be numbered, you heathens. All right, because what do we got coming to us? We got immortality coming to us. See, that's another thing Esau don't want to deal with. That immortality, man. All right? What can you do with somebody that's immortal, that can't die? All right? Especially when we got the law, statutes, commandments in our inward parts. They can't do nothing then. They can't make us go off. All right, so what does that mean? They're never coming back into power. All right? It says, but the days of Israel are innumerable. Innumerable being what? It can't be counted. All right? Basically infinite, man. No end in sight. All right? A wise man shall inherit glory among his people, and his name shall be perpetual. And that's going to be us. This is what they don't want to happen. This is what they're trying to prevent. This is why they're trying to set up a new world order, because they don't want, all right, this to come to pass, but it will come to pass. All right? All right, let's get Job. Let me see. Slack it. Actually, let's get that Micah. All right, let's get Micah 2. I hope this don't cut off on me. Micah 2:1 says, woe, destruction to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. Because what is it says in Proverbs? It says, they sleep not lest they cause some to fall. Who do they want to fall the most? They want the Israelites to fall, man. All right? Who has the worst food in their neighborhoods? It's Jake. It's evident. All right? But it says, work evil upon his beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. All right? They're in power right now. So what are they going to use with all their power? They're going to try to destroy the Israelites, man. And it's not going to work. It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. And that's what they've done. And that's what they're trying to continue to do. They're trying to oppress us, especially us getting back in one with Yahweh Shemashai. That's you trying to oppress a person in their heritage, man. All right? So destruction is coming to you. He's going to say it. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shemashai, behold, against this family, speaking of the family of what? Edom, and all the families of heathens that came up against us. But the chief family that the Lord is targeting is the nation of Edom. All right? Isaiah the 63rd chapter. Who is that coming from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? All right? Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go hastily, for this time is evil, man. And this is why all these plagues, okay, are happening, because we're in the evil times. We're in the days where Yahweh is going to send Yahweh Shah, Salakia, all right, to destroy you heathens, man, for coming against the apple of his eye, man, for doing things like this, man, trying to basically stop reproduction, man. All right, because this man says it's too many people on earth. The Lord said, be fruitful and multiply. Who the hell are you? All right, and that day one shall take up a parable against you and lament with the doleful lamentation and say, we be utterly spoiled. He hath changed the portion of my people. How have you removed it from me? Turn away, he hath devoured our fields. Everybody's saying that. Everybody that you raped, robbed, and murdered, everybody's saying that, man. Your forefathers, all right, raped, robbed, and murdered. All right, my forefathers, all right, for our land. You stole our heritage. All right, you stole everything. And you can't handle the pressure. All right. So let's get Isaiah 14, man. Cause see, you doing all this plotting and scheming behind the scenes to destroy our nation, and whole time the Lord's laughing at you. The Lord, all right, everything, this experiment that you try to do on Jake, you gonna become, all right, the victim of your own experiment. Cause we about to get it. This is Isaiah 14. All right. I start at 12. It says, "How thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, which is light bearer." Speaking of the elites, they had the light, but they used what? They used witchcraft. They used it in wickedness. "Son of the morning, how thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations. For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my thrones above the stars of Yahweh. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High," man. And that's what you continue to do. You try to act like you're the Most High, man. You tell people what the weather's going to be like. All right? You tell people what they can eat. All right? You'll take the food that the Lord already created for his purpose, and you'll try to add or take away things, man. All right? You'll try to justify, your science, all right, and your technology above the Most High, man. All right? But it says, "Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell," which is a low condition, a state, "to the sides of the pit," because you're going into slavery, man. "They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to trouble and did shake the kingdoms? That made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof? That opened not the house of his prisoners?" Because who are the prisoners? The Israelites. We are the main prisoners, man. All right? You told the Negroes, the so-called Negroes, to go back to Africa, which you don't want them to go back to Africa, because you know if Jake was to pack up and go back to Africa, this whole economy would collapse. You Edomites would die off a lot faster than you already are without Jake. All right? Issachar that come from the down at the border. If they was to stop picking, all right, these crops, and throughout California and elsewhere, all right, your stores will run out of food even faster than they already are. You see? All the kings of the nations, even all of them lie in glory, even everyone in his own house. Because, like I say, all you heathens are going into captivity. But once the 1,000 years of servitude is up, all right, these other nations outside the nation Edom, they're going to be able to go back to their lands. They're going to see a righteous rulership. All right? They're going to know what it's like to live in a righteous kingdom. You Edomites, you won't be able to do that, because we're going to go into it, but thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trod under foot. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people, and the seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities, man. This is what you're trying to do with us. All right, you're trying to prepare slaughter for us and our children, but it's going to come back on you. This is why the Lord's laughing at you. "For I will rise up against them, said the Lord Yahweh Shemashah of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant, son and nephew." And like I said, you do that, you do away with the man of a nation, you do away with that nation, period. All right, that nation is vulnerable. It becomes spoiled. You can spoil that nation, because the woman, 1 Peter the 3rd chapter tells you that's the weaker vessel. They'll cave in. All right, they cave in easy. They can't fight, all right, a man's war. You see? I will also make it actually, let's get Obadiah 1:18. Why is he also gonna cut off your nation, man? All right. Actually, you know what? Let's get Job 18. So the experiment that you be trying to do on Jake, trying to take Jake out, you're gonna fall victim of it. Just like Haman, when he tried to kill Mordecai and our people. All right, what happened? The Lord flipped it to where Haman got hung, and his whole house got hung. The same thing's about to happen to you. All right, I'm just get straight to the point. This is Job 18:17 says, "His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no more name in the street. All right, let's get Obadiah. Okay, why is that? Obadiah is going to explain it. This is Obadiah 1 and 18. Actually 17. It says, but Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph, which is the house of Ephraim, a flame. The house of Esau, all right, for stubble, and they shall kindle a fire in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah has spoken it, man. All right, that's gonna be the real depopulation agenda. When Yahweh Shah, all right, push you, debase you Edomites, when you just strip the power, you do your 1,000 years of captivity, and this is gonna come to pass. Once you've done your 1,000 years, you're gonna be rounded up, all right, by Jake, all the tribes, and it's gonna be a bonfire, man, of Edomites. It will be no more of the house of Esau after that, man. No more wickedness will be fully put out the earth. All right, because the kingdom to come is going to be fully righteous, just like this kingdom is fully wickedness. All right, that's going to swap. Okay, it says, and they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plains, the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. And the captivity of this host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites, even though it's Zarephath. And the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Zephirah, Salaki, shall possess the cities of the south. And saviors shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the Mount of Esau. And the kingdom shall be the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah, and we're going to be joint heirs with him. All right? So, the same thing that King David was doing when he was going through these different heathens and conquering them and taking their land, is going to happen again. All right? But this time it's going to be forever. It's not going to be temporary. All right? And the reason why we're going to need all these lands, okay, because while you think you're going to depopulate Jake, all right, well, let's check this out. It's Isaiah 60 and I started 18. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, nor wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation, thy gates praise. The sun shall no more be heard, thy light by day. Slaki, the sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for the brightness shall the moon give light unto thee, but the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy power thy glory. Thy sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah shall be thy everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. Because we're gonna be in power. We're gonna be the new rulers. Thy people also shall be all righteous. All the Israelites will be righteous. That's another thing. The kingdom of heaven is going to be 100% righteous. You're not going to have to do grimy like Jake had to do inside. Sell drugs and, fraud, all these different things Jake do still, all right, to get, rich. Like you said, get rich and die trying. That's going to be over with. We're going to be, like they say in the world, filthy, stinking rich, man. All right? We're going to have more than our heart can desire, just like Esau. All right? They shall inherit the land forever. We're going to inherit the land of Israel. We're going to inherit the galaxies, the different plans that the Lord, the many mansions, like it says in John 14, that's going to be ours. Everything's going to be ours. The branch of my plant is the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten in this time. So you doing all this plotting to cut us off as a nation, and it's going to fail. All right? Because not only is it going to fail on your end, but you're going to be exterminated, and you're just going to, and before you be exterminated, you're going to watch the people that you hate the most, all right, you despise the most, you're going to see us every damn where, man. And we're going to be in power, and you're going to be a slave. All right? Psalms 128 and 1. A song of degrees. Blessed is everyone that feareth the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah, that walketh in his ways. For thou shalt eat the labor of thine hands. Happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee. Thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thy house, thy children like olive plants round about thy table. Behold, that thus shall the man be blessed that feareth the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah. The Lord shall bless thee out of Zion, and thou shalt see the good of Jerusalem all the days of thy life. Yeah, thou shalt see thy children, and peace upon Israel. Alright? So that's what's coming, man. What you trying to do is not going to work, Esau. Alright? You're going to become, like I said, you're going to become your own experiment, man. But it's going to be in the bad way. Call her Lord, la Yahweh by Shema Shah. Yahweh writes his eyes with edifying. Papa Kasha, Apa Papo, Apa Papo, Apa Ha Ayapi, Apa Ha Ayapi. Shalom to you, to the few aqua if they listen and learn. Shalom, Hawad, Hayah, la Yahweh by Shema Shah, and Shalom.